Right now, somewhere in your home, mice are laughing at you. They are eating your food. They are chewing your wires. They are living rent-free while you spend money on traps that don't work and poison that they avoid. But what if I told you there's a $2 powder sitting in almost every garage in America? A powder so deadly to mice that poison companies have buried this secret for over 60 years? Because if you knew about this, you would never buy their $30 bait stations again. Never. And they know that. Today, I'm going to expose exactly what this powder is, how it works, and how you can use it to eliminate every single mouse in your home permanently. This is not a trick. This is not a hack. This is real chemistry that rodent control companies have spent millions making sure you never find out. Stay until the end, because the last tip will shock you. Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. to that scratching sound inside your walls? That horrible, tiny scratching? And your stomach drops because you know exactly what it means. You have mice. And then begins the nightmare. You go to the store and spend $25 on snap traps. You set them up everywhere. Maybe you catch one, maybe two, but 3 days later the scratching is back. So now you buy the electric traps, $40 each. You need 4 of them. That is $160 gone. They work for a week, then the mice figure it out. So now you call an exterminator. And here is where the real robbery begins. The average pest control company charges between $300 and $600 for a single mouse treatment. A single treatment. And they come back every few months, charging you again and again. Some companies put families on annual plans costing $100-200 a year, every single year, for a problem that never actually goes away. Why does it never go away? Because they don't want it to go away. Think about that for a second. A pest control company that permanently eliminates your mouse problem never gets called again. So they use treatments that work just enough to keep you scared, but not enough to actually solve it. Your family is living with mice. Your kids are touching surfaces contaminated with mouse droppings. Hantavirus is real. Salmonella from mice is real. And while your family is at risk, these companies are billing your credit card every quarter. You deserve to know the truth. Here is what happened. Back in the 1940s, people dealt with mice the same way their grandparents did. Simple, cheap household ingredients that had been used for generations. Farmers knew about them. Housewives knew about them. These methods worked so well that rodent infestations were genuinely rare. Then something changed. After World War II, the American chemical industry exploded. Companies that had been making chemical weapons needed new markets, and they found one. They invented synthetic rodenticides. They packaged them in fancy boxes. They lobbied government agencies to regulate and restrict the old methods. And by the 1960s, the natural solutions that your great-grandmother used were quietly buried under a mountain of marketing. By 1972, the pest control industry was worth $2 billion today. It is worth over $22 billion. That growth was built entirely on making sure you never learn what I'm about to show you. Companies like Terminix, Orkin, and the manufacturers behind brands like Decon and Tomcat, they have a shared interest in keeping this secret. What I'm about to show you cannot be patented. It cannot be sold at a markup. They spent millions keeping this quiet because it costs almost nothing. Only 1% of people actually know this, and most of them are old farmers who learned it from their parents before the chemical companies took over. You are about to join that 1%. The product is diatomaceous earth, specifically food-grade diatomaceous earth. You can find it at any garden center, farm, supply store, or online for under $2 per pound, a bag that lasts months. Now, let me tell you exactly why this works, because the science here is genuinely remarkable. Diatomaceous earth is made from the fossilized remains of tiny aquatic organisms called diatoms. These organisms have shells made of silica, an incredibly sharp microscopic material. To your eye, diatomaceous earth looks like a fine white powder, completely harmless, but under a microscope it looks like shattered glass. When a mouse walks through diatomaceous earth, those microscopic sharp edges penetrate the waxy outer layer of the mouse's exoskeleton. Wait, mice don't have exoskeletons. But here's what they do have. A thin protective oil layer on their skin and fur that retains moisture. Diatomaceous earth destroys that layer completely. It then absorbs the moisture directly from the mouse's body. The mouse begins to dehydrate from the outside in. It is irreversible. There is no antidote. The mouse cannot build resistance to it because it is a physical process, not a chemical one. That is the key difference. Mice can evolve resistance to poison. They cannot evolve resistance to dehydration. And here is the number that matters. Pest control companies charge $300 to $600 for a treatment. A 2-pound bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth costs $6 to $8. That is the same treatment, the same result, for $8. That is why they hid it. Now I'm going to give you the exact method. This is the step-by-step process that actually works and every detail matters. First, You need to identify where the mice are active. Do not guess. Look for droppings, which look like small dark grains of rice. Look along walls, behind appliances, under sinks, and inside cabinet corners. Mice travel the same paths every night. They call these runways. Hugging walls and traveling the same routes gives them safety. Your goal is to put diatomaceous earth directly on those runways. Second, before you apply anything, put on a simple dust mask. Food-grade diatomaceous earth is safe, but any fine powder inhaled in large quantities irritates your lungs. A $1 dust mask is all you need. This is not dangerous. Just be sensible. Third, take your bag of diatomaceous earth and apply a thin layer, approximately 1 to 2 millimeters thick, directly along the base of every wall where you found droppings. Do not pile it up. Do not make it thick and obvious. A thin, barely visible line is far more effective because the mouse does not avoid it. It walks right through it without noticing. Then apply it behind your refrigerator, behind your stove, inside the cabinet under your kitchen sink, inside any gap where pipes enter through walls. These are the main highways mice use every single night. Fourth, pay special attention to entry points. Look for gaps around pipes, small holes in baseboards, spaces under doors. Apply diatomaceous earth around every single entry point you can find. Fifth, if you have an attic or crawl space, dust the entire perimeter. Do not be afraid to use it generously in spaces where humans and pets are not walking. This creates a barrier the mice cannot cross without consequence. Sixth, do not apply it where it will get wet. Diatomaceous earth loses its effectiveness when it gets damp. Under sinks is fine because it stays dry, but avoid putting it where water might splash. If it gets wet, reapply. Seventh, check your applications every 3 to 4 days for the first 2 weeks. You will likely start finding dead mice within 72 hours. Remove them using gloves and a bag. Reapply the diatomaceous earth in any spots that look disturbed or thin. Do not skip this step. Consistency in the first 2 weeks is everything. One important thing you must not do: do not mix diatomaceous earth with anything. Some videos tell you to mix it with peanut butter or sugar to attract mice. This is wrong. It clogs the powder and destroys its effectiveness entirely. Use it dry, always dry. The results are going to amaze you. Within the first 72 hours, you will likely find your first dead mouse. It will not be in a trap. It will not be near poison. It will simply be dead somewhere along one of those runways. By day 7, people who have used this method consistently report finding 3, 4, sometimes 6 dead mice. Not sick, not slow, dead. One viewer who used this method in a farmhouse that had been infested for 2 winters straight reported finding 11 mice dead within the first 10 days. He had spent over $900 on exterminators in the previous year alone. He spent $8 on a bag of diatomaceous earth. Another viewer, a mother of 3 in Ohio, had been terrified of mice getting into her children's bedroom. She had tried every trap available. Nothing worked long term. She applied diatomaceous earth along the baseboards, behind the refrigerator, and around the garage entry. Within 2 weeks, she had 0 mice. 0. Her words were simple. "I wish someone had told me this years ago." The results last as long as the powder stays dry and in place. Reapply it every 3 to 4 months as a maintenance layer even after the mice are gone. This prevents reinfestation permanently. Mice that survive will not return to an area where others have died. The new mice from outside will hit the barrier and suffer the same fate before they ever reach your living space. Professional exterminators know about diatomaceous earth. Ask any one of them off the record and they will tell you it works. But they will not tell you that on a service call, because that service call pays their salary. This information is being actively suppressed right now. Videos about this method get demonetized. Posts about it get buried. Because when people know the truth, billion-dollar industries collapse. If this opened your eyes today, hit that like button right now. Not for me. For everyone else who is still paying $400 a year to an exterminator who is keeping them in the dark. Subscribe, because next week I'm exposing another secret that cleaning product companies have hidden since the 1950s. A single ingredient that cleans your entire bathroom better than anything sold in a store for 40 cents. You will not want to miss that one. And before you go, here's the final tip I promised, the one that will shock you. Diatomaceous earth does not just kill mice. It kills cockroaches, ants, bedbugs, fleas, and silverfish using the exact same mechanism. One $8 bag handles every pest in your home. The entire pest control industry, a $22 billion industry, can be replaced by a powder that costs less than a cup of coffee. They knew this. They always knew this. Now you know it too. Take your power back.